The Easy Woman Spears, for sure.
Excuse me. Did you
There's free water upstairs.
I hear Adriana's walking.
I brought some tissues in case it was emotional.
Test one, two, test one, two, test one, two. The levels. Test. Good evening. I am Juanqui, and welcome to my world. Okay. It's a cornucopia of stuff. Honey, I'm listening to playback. I hear myself like I fell down a well. The girl in the well. Okay? This needs to stop. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? I am here. I'm hearing an incredible amount of popping and as if I have fallen down a well. Levels is good for you. The levels are outrageous for me. I have to take one out. But the show must go on. I won't be before you long. It is the beginning of the week. I hope you have a productive. I hope you have a salacious. I hope you have a grateful week. All right, don't run yourself to the ground because then this next week and you got to do it all over again. Okay. All right. So the bomb is working, babe, but I feel like the water in the well finally caught up to me and rose me up, and the well situation is not here anymore. So, okay. If you did something over there, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is going to be quick and simple. It's a confession from somebody who states, I be living a lie. Yes. Red P says, hey, Juan and Hulk, I think I missed a good one last night. We had a good time. It's there. Play it back tomorrow when you're at work and stuff. Put me right in your ear hole and let me entertain to you. Okay, all right, so let's get right to it. This is in the confession board, ladies and gentlemen. I won't keep you long because I know everybody got to go to work tomorrow. It's Monday, okay? And I think the Irish are celebrating sometime this week. The luck of the Irish, okay? If you are an Irish watcher, happy holiday to you, okay? All right, the confession is entitled, I've been living a lie at work for years and nobody knows. What do you think he's going to say? They're going to say. She going to say. What do you think they're going to say? What do you think they're going to say? Okay, here we go, Naris 21. I've worked at my job for almost 5 years and nobody knows this about me. I pretend to understand things I don't just to avoid looking incompetent. Okay. I'm pretty sure we're all been there at some time or another, right? I nod, smile, and act confident in meetings, emails, and presentations, even though half the time I am completely lost. Over the years, I've become known as someone reliable and smart. And the thought of admitting I've been faking it terrifies me. I feel guilty and constantly anxious that someone will find out. The weirdest part, I've actually learned a lot by faking it, but the guilt never goes away. Has anyone else been living a small, long-term lie like this? All right, I'm going to read 3 comments and then I'm going to give you my thoughts and some accolades from Juanqui Pro because I can relate. All right, somebody says, the secret is that half of us are doing the exact same thing. Confidence is just controlled panic. And that is true. That's called imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. What is imposter syndrome? Let's look it up real quick since we got time today. Let's go right here. Define imposter syndrome. It's a psychological term, obviously. Okay, imposter syndrome. It's a psychological phenomenon where someone persistently Someone persistently doubts their abilities and accomplishments despite evidence of their success. It's characterized by feelings of fraudulent, fraudulent and shit, and a fear of being exposed. People with imposter syndrome may, 1. Attribute success to external factors, believe their achievements are due to luck or chance, not their own competence. 2. Fear exposure, worried that people will worried that people will realize they're not as intelligent or talented as they seem. 3. Doubt their worth, feeling that like they don't deserve their success. 4. Pull back or overwork, either avoid reaching their potential or try to compensate for perceived failures. And finally, feel isolated, experience anxiety, and have difficulty in relationships. Red states, that's why I retired after 35 years in the medical field. You fakers make me sick. Naris 21 says, Y and T, if y'all know, people do it every day. Drop a bomb on that. Absolutely. Red says, I didn't want to say it, but exactly. Well, let me tell you something. I feel, I can relate a little bit. I never had the imposter syndrome, but I can relate in the sense of I think confidence is half the battle, especially in corporate America. And also being able to say, you know what, that's a very good question. I don't have the answer to that right now, but let me get back to you on that. Drop a bomb on that. Look how powerful that one statement is. It's letting you know, and everybody on this at this table and on the phone in the conference call, that I don't have all the answers, and I don't think I am a know-it-all. I don't know everything. I couldn't possibly know everything, but I know people and I know resources, and I can do research and come back and answer the question. You understand what I'm saying? I think it's worse if you are trying to be a know-it-all and a faker, and you just embellishing shit, and then because of your embellishment and the shit, the project didn't go as smoothly as it should have been, or the clients weren't serviced, Naris 21. You didn't service the client properly because you were embellishing and shit. You understand what I'm saying? I don't see anything wrong at all levels of a corporation or job or whatever to be able to say, stop, I'm not so sure about that, or wait, let me check up on my resources. You know what I am notorious and a king for doing? Whenever I was in corporate America and let's say I was put on the spot to answer a question that I did not know, hey, I will use a phrase that I used earlier. That's a really good question. I don't have the answer to that. Let me get back to you on that. Or I do not recall right now. I need to look up my notes, and I will get back to you when I research it on my notes. That's it. Look how simple. Look how simple. Then you have to take if you say I'm going to get back to you, for you to close the loop, you have to get back to them. You have to get back to them within a reasonable amount of time. Not like 3 days, not like by the end of the day, you should be getting back to them. So you should have, if you got into a position that you weren't qualified for, but somehow you sold yourself in the interview, which is also not wrong. Listen, the way that I approach these things, nobody knows everything always. Everybody has to be taught, and everybody ideally is continuing to evolve and grow. When it comes down to technology programs, as long as you know your way around technology, the rest is just learning the program, right? There's job applications and job listings that will tell you must know this platform or must know this software. And sometimes people feel like they don't want to apply because, I don't have QuickBooks experience. Bitch, if you don't send, but accounting, right? And the principles of accounting, right? What coming in, what's accounts payable between versus accounts receivable, and the concept of checks and balances and, all of that. If you know that shit, and you're just worried because you don't know QuickBooks, you send your resume in and you go on YouTube and you go ahead and you look and see what QuickBooks looks like. You get a quick crash course. You know what I'm saying? And then when you're at the interview and they ask you, how good are you in QuickBooks? Well, yeah, we used to use it in my company. They're not going to call your old company to inquire about what kind of financial systems they use. Trust me, they're not going to do that. And even if they do, a company is not going to divulge what kind of software they use and all that, because that's all a security risk, right? So what you can say is we used it differently. I would just need to get up to speed in the way that you guys use it. But, learning your way is just, it'll be easy because I'm tech savvy. You see how easy that is? Even if you ain't never seen the motherfucking program, they have to teach you on the way that they use the software, especially now where software is so, like, the pitching point for a lot of softwares, and I've dealt with a lot of softwares in companies, nonprofit, for-profit, corporate, they're tailored to the company. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, you can know how this program works over here, but the way this new company that you're working for uses it is probably going to be different. You know what I'm saying? So you still have to be put through their training component. You know what I'm saying? So let me just catch up with this. Red says, think about it, Juan. If I was caring for one of your family members, would you want me to fake it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And there are certain positions that you can't fake it, obviously. And there's certain things that come with a credential, because if you're caring for a family member, let's say in a hospital setting, I would assume that you are a CNA or certified something, and you have to go through a process. Maybe a certification. Every so often you have to get recertified. Maybe you're working under the watchful eye of a LILP or whatever. That's a licensed nurse practitioner. So there's certain roles that you can't fake it. But what I'm referring to, and what I think the poster is referring to, is more of like in the corporate setting, like, if you're in marketing, or you're like things that have a lot of like skills that you can like gather from the internet, especially now with all the AI shit. Let me tell you, I've done very well at my jobs, but at my jobs, I had to sell myself in an interview. They have to like you to give you the role, and then you learn all the shit. Every role that I've had to, yes, I come with a certain level of professionalism. I'm aesthetically pleasing. I can communicate, right? I know how to, I come with some education, but when I land at the place, I still have to learn their ways, and I never felt like an imposter, but I did feel like, oh my God, how the fuck am I going to do that? I remember when I read this, it goes back to, I think it was week 2 or week 3 of a really good national position that I had gotten, because everything that I've always done has always been at a bigger scale, right? So I went from just working in New York City to now working for a national organization with like 20 something sites across the states, right? So I remember it was like week 2, and my boss, who was a VP, said to me, I need you to put together a budget for X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, I can work with that. And I'm, and I said, well, what's the top line of the, and he said 1.2. And I knew what he meant by 1.2, but I've never dealt with that much money. That's $1.2 million. Drop a bomb on that. When he said that, I literally just like my soul left my body. Because that meant that I will have to put together a budget that accounted for $1.5 million. You want to know what I did in RS21? After I left that meeting, I went to my station. I went to I took my cell phone. I went to the restroom. I closed the door behind the restroom. I dialed my mama, and I was crying on the phone. Oh my God, Mama, how am I going to? And my mom was like, because my mom is a CPA, an accountant. I was having a motherfucking meltdown. I saw this job with this high figure paying job and all these perks. And, I had shitting on the last job. Talk about I'm going here now at a national level. I saw all that shit disappear right before my eyes, because I said, ain't no fucking way that I can. The most I had handled was like maybe 100,000, 200,000 as a budget for the department. When he said 1.5 mil, 1.2 mil, I was like, oh my God. I literally was shitting bricks and crying. I started shaking. I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do this. I remember I had my tie on. I had to roll up my sleeves because I was like trying to like clean my eyes. And my mom was like, get your fucking self together. We will work with it together when we got home. And I got home. My mom gave me a book on accounting principles and shit that I read cover to cover every morning while I was on the train. And we just made it fucking work. We made it work. My mom gave me, she was a great source. You know what my mom said? What you're going to do is the next day you're going to go in and you're going to ask to see the template for the last year. Okay? Look at that. Look how the sun just opened up. Look how the clouds just went away and the rays came through. She said, ask for the template from last year or the one from last year. That way you already see what you absolutely need to have. And the rest you're doing is plugging in numbers with an increase because shit goes up every year. And the salary lines, you're doing cost of living. And if they're opening more locations, like look at how much usually takes to open a location. And then, it was like nothing. It was like nothing. I went from, and at another job that I had, but if you thought 1.2 mil was the thing, the job I left just now before I came and, been doing what I've been doing for the last couple of years, I was handling 20, 25, 50 million. Drop a bomb on that. Like nothing. Like nothing. And I remember a mentor telling me one time, because I was like, how do you deal with these numbers are so big? And she said to me, it's just more zeros. If you feel intimidated, just take 6 of the zeros. Take 6 of the zeros and just deal with 2 numbers. Just deal with 2 numbers. Know that there's 6 behind, but just deal with the 2 numbers at first. Just deal with the 2 numbers and then throw the rest of the zeros at the end or whatever the case may be. But and now I can talk about 1 million here, 20 million here, 30 million here, 50 million here. Like it's nothing. But when I first started, it was intimidating as fuck. I did not want to seem like they made a mistake. Like I didn't know what the fuck they, and it also takes, it's not just about you faking it. Yeah, you fake it at the moment. You give the excuse at the moment, but you better be spending every free moment getting up to par with what you need to get up to par. This person in this post says that they've been faking it for 5 years. Bitch, if you ain't fucking learned the shit in the first 12 months, all right, the last 4 years, it should have been you leading the program, you doing the role. Drop a bomb on that. I can understand you faking it the first 12 months. But at month number 13 and moving forward, okay, this is not the right place for you. You ain't being smart about your shit. Because many jobs that I've had where I didn't know what the fuck was going on, I didn't understand. I would, first of all, you don't always have to be talking, or not and looking like you're taking very detailed notes on the whole 9. You look like you invested in the whole situation. Sometimes people just like to get in meetings and talk and let them fucking talk. Let them talk and listen to what they're saying. They sound like idiots sometimes. They want to talk so much and want to have a word in at every single break of the comment and that they sound dumb. You a dummy, bitch. You a dummy, in the words of Monique. Okay? But if you're there, you're writing notes, you're looking, you're like, you nodding. And then you go back to your station, or when you're on the train or the bus or whatever you take back home, you're rereading. If you don't understand shit, you Googling. Narins21 says, Juanqui, you're too kind to be first few months. You get the hang of it. You're too kind. The first few months, you get the hang of things. Exactly. And then you also, you ask to see the files from the previous person. Now, if they were fired, don't take their work as the gospel. Don't take their work as the gospel. But you want to see what was done before. You want to see, and you can have what worked, what didn't work. And there's nothing wrong with saying to to, management, I would like some more professional development in this area. Boom. There you go. Boom. You also need to know what you're working for, right? Because if you know it's an environment where professional development, what the fuck is that? That don't come with that bullshit. But if it's supposed to be like all of these people who are just educated and they're doing the whole thing, and I would like to get some more professional development in this sector, in this area or whatever. You have to put in for this person to say that they've been at the position for 5 years and to this day they're still faking it and they're still completely lost. Then there's a larger issue there. There's a larger issue there in the sense that you're not retaining, you're not learning, you're not doing the extra work to get up to par. And also management. If management at 5 years sees you, because you can get away with not knowing shit at the very beginning. Oh, he may be shy. Oh, he's just getting, like Nara says, the hang of things. He's just getting our way, getting used to our way. He's getting acclimated with how we do things. You can get away for the first 6 to 9 months. Your first evaluation, your first year evaluation. You could get away with, I'm still feeling the waters. I'm still trying to understand how people work, how they communicate, all of that. But at 5 years, girl, if you don't get the fuck out of my face, okay? If you don't get the F out of my face and you start putting in time, instead of coming to the freaking post message to confess, you should be going through your books and reading shit and YouTubing and on your free time and enrolling in an accounting class. If it's accounting, you got to do the work. You got to do the work. And I think, when you have jobs like that require you, not all the time, because I don't want to be fucking on call ever again. But if there's things that, even during your workday that allows you to do some research on something. I will also do research during my clock time. When I was on the clock, I will be doing research, printing out manuals, highlighting shit, like whatever it was. Like, this is part of the work. It's part of the work. Red says, trust me, someone has noticed they just ain't saying nothing yet. Drop a bomb on that. You're absolutely right. And sometimes they do that because if they get rid of this person, then they shit is going to end up in my lab while they spend another 6 weeks, 6 months trying to find the best fit. You know what I'm saying? Like, people do all sorts of things. The work environment, let me tell you something. It's a zoo. It's a zoo. The shit that I've come across, the things that I've had to put up with, the things that I've seen, the racism that I've seen, the sexism, the homophobia that I've seen, the people who needed to be medicated, the people who do not qualify to be in positions because they have personality disorders. You understand what I'm saying? But we got these things in place in New York City that requires them to be. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. The way that corporations will bend over backwards and leave, an unqualified, disruptive person there because they just don't want to have to deal with legalities of it because they know they're not fully functioning up there. I've actually found that the places that I've had the most peace, believe it or not, have been the jobs that have given you like a personality assessment before they hire you. Drop a bomb on that. I've taken a few of those at times, and it's kind of like calming when you come into a situation where everybody here had a personality test, at least in the management team, and everybody had to have these assessments. And if you score poorly, they weren't just going to call you. You know what I'm saying? Because okay, we should all be working with the same apparatus up here. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen some atrocities and just quite disheartening shit that makes you, as a hard worker, not even want to show up. And half the battle is showing up. Let me tell you, management will take the line that I gave. That's a very good question. I don't have the answer to you right now, but give me a few and I'll get back to you with what I find out. They will take that better from somebody who's dedicated, committed, shows up to work, is on time, takes a shower before they get to work, has a good energy about them, It's approachable, even if they don't give a fuck. It's approachable. They will take that line much easier than somebody who calls out all the time. It's nasty. It's not reliable. It's always missing deadlines. It's unkempt. They don't shower. They smell. They look crazy. They come and smelling like cigarettes and weed and liquor. The Tina, the liquor, the Coke, all of that. They will take the line and work with you if you have been showing up on time, trying to learn, trying to make the process work, trying to be with the mission and the vision for the company and all of that. And extra credit if you go to the company outings and shit, which I hate. I hated it. But you have to do that shit. You have to do that shit. You don't have to stay the whole time. Just go for 45 minutes so they can see you that you was there and the whole night, and then get the fuck out, okay? Anyway, in conclusion, imposter syndrome. No, I don't think this person is suffering from imposter syndrome. I think this person is just like clueless. Just clueless. I find it hard to believe that, especially if it's repetitive task, different client, repetitive shit, that they haven't learned something in 5 years. I find it hard to believe, but hey, everything and anything is available under the sun. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming through. I come through every single night with a confession or somebody seeking advice or me just running my mouth. Okay? I want to wish you a good beginning of the week. I want to thank you for coming through. We'll be back tomorrow with another confession or advice. All right. Be safe. Bundle up if you're on the East Coast. We're fucking back to 23 and 25. Okay. I'm fucking freezing. It's crazy to me. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a blessed week. Y'all know where to find me tomorrow night around this time. Okay. I'll see you guys. Bye. Peace.